was not exactly the showing that you would expect from Team Liquid here. But of course, with as many bridges around us, this is just water under the fridge as we do look to move to the second map, but not before we make some sense of this first one. My name is Trey Saranthus. I am your desk host here at the ESL One New York, live from the Microsoft flagship studio in downtown Manhattan. Now, to my left, that would be my esteemed analytical crew, which is known as a sponge and a maniac, and these guys have absorbed just enough to make them go a little bit crazy as we look to make some sense of this one.
That was quite good, and I think that realistically, NRG got very lucky to take this victory. The fact it went to overtime on a map that Liquid don't play is something to attest to, but then you look at the fact that they had to win 7 1vx situations just to get across this board. Breezy in the first half was getting a lot of kills during their default through smoke on the players within the bathrooms. They were able to win rounds off of that, but it's not the concise victory I thought they would have had on this first map.
Right.
I agree, and also I think the twist ace kind of put Liquid back onto the map in the first half. It could have spun out of control. NRG could have taken the first half way more convincingly than that, but after that ace from twist, Liquid came back to life. 8-7, and we had a very tight game.
I do want to point out the fact, though, you saw what Naf was saying in that interview, that he feels like, you know, he knows the guys quite well and he has a tough time playing against them. That's something that I've spoken to Daps about before. It's like Daps is like in Naf's head. And if you actually look at the stat line, like you're looking at this, Naf had a pretty poor performance. He only had 17 kills. Elige also with only 19. You can see this map isn't really in their comfort zone. So that's probably playing into their heads. And when you go into the second map, which is the pick of Liquid being Dust2, I get a little bit scared because if those players aren't firing, they could get counter-stratted.
How far back do you think that sort of psychological warfare goes? If you
time.
run it all the way back with that Liquid lineup, to, I mean, maybe what? Aspen? Maybe X Games? Like,
well, they've probably been playing against each other now for like at least 5 years. Whether in the same teams, but in the same community, especially Naf and Daps both being Canadian, they've known each other for a very long time. The fact that Daps has that mental edge over Naf, who we are touting as one of the best players in the world at the moment, is actually ridiculous. I think that that is cause for concern, but if we outline this, that was the pick of NRG. Going into Dust2, the pick of Liquid, they're going to be hugely confident, or they should be, because this isn't a map that we've seen too much of NRG.
But we've definitely seen weirder things than a team losing their map pick. Albeit
like
this
FaZe
one
losing to G2 today.
Yeah, that was kind of strange. Almost up there like Gambit beating Navi, which is also wasn't on the scripts, wasn't part of any sort of simulation that I read coming into this event. So perhaps, Maniac, you can make a little bit of sense of what's going on here with this Team Liquid.
Well, making sense, I don't know. Ideas, I cannot give the science, but the thing is, they're coming here from the major. Obviously, the major was a huge burst of pressure and focus and concentration. You come here, that is a challenge in itself to come right from an event to another. We heard in an interview from Zeus, they barely had time to travel, come here, play one game, and then play again. NRG on the other hand, they could prepare for this tournament. So, you know, it's like they are in 2 different situations. Right. If you want to be a top 3 teams in the world, they would have to be able to play good even in that situation.
You're going to have to step it up just a little bit. Of course, this isn't a weather forecast, but we do have a slight breeze coming through with James Banks down on the sidelines. Let's check in with what he had to say.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much, Stunner. I am joined by Breezy, and now it's time to discuss, first of all, Overpass. When you look back at the results, you guys took down Liquid last time around on it. Were you guys quite confident going into it, and kind of what went into your heads when it went to overtime? Because I personally sat there and I was like, oh, this will be 16-13, and then it kind of, it's a little bit spiraled out of control.
Going into Overpass, it's our most comfortable map. Yeah. It's our favorite map, but we haven't played an official on it in a while, so we were a little bit nervous, and just glad we could win that game. As for overtime, we knew that our default was working, so we just stuck with that and just finished the game.
Now you're going into Dust2 next. Map we've seen you guys play only twice. You've lost both games on it. Liquid there, kind of around the 50%. They've done a fair few more games on it. Are you guys pretty much prepared for it now, or are you still not really the ideal map for you?
Yeah, we prepared a lot for D2, actually. So, yeah, during this time the major was happening, we worked a lot on it. One of our maps we're trying to surprise teams on.
So one last question there then is this going to be a 2-0 in favor of NRG?
Yes.
I love it. That's the confidence. Guys, tell me what you think about that.
You hear the confidence in his voice, and I don't want to say rightfully so, because it wasn't such a one-sided affair. It wasn't like the easiest battle that they've ever fought here. But I guess going into a Liquid pick of a map of Dust2, you got to kind of sit here and say, well, they probably have a few tricks up their sleeve.
Definitely so, and I think that's where the counter-strategy is really going to come into play, right? If you look at this CT hold from Liquid, it's Naf and Taka over towards the B bomb site. You've got Nitro's the A player with the AWP, Elige on the swing, and then Twist locking down Pit. If I was this NRG team, the first thing I'd be doing is heading over towards that B bomb site. Sure, Taka had a pretty decent performance on the first map, but you know Naf didn't. And if you can punish that and exploit that and take advantage of those mind games early, your T side can really flourish from that point. And we have seen within the last couple of weeks how sporadic Dust2 still is. It hasn't settled into the map pool just yet. So this could just actually be an NRG 2-0 blowout.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I also think that, as Chad points out, the anti-strat is basically the only thing that NRG have going for them into Dust2. Because they themselves have only played Dust2 twice this year. They lost twice. So there isn't really much information for Liquid to build upon. But NRG, they can prepare. They probably could prepare, and they knew Dust2 was a possibility to play here.
Well, we do have just under 30 seconds, and perhaps what took Liquid to that overtime on the first map, is that going to be a factor going into the second one?
For what do you mean, the individualism of the players? I think that, you know, a map like Dust2 where it's a lot more brawly, players like Naf, Elige, and Twist could all just take over individually. But it was Nitro and Taka doing the heavy lifting, so the stars of Liquid need to step up now. And
perhaps even align themselves a little more. Maniac, just about 10 seconds.
I'm going to say Liquid will take it. Overpass should have been much easier for NRG. That was hard for them. Now Dust2, I think Liquid's taking it.
And just off the heels of what wasn't necessarily the performance they wanted at the Major, but now time for redemption as they look to grab their first ever ESL One New York title. And one title is this of the commentary duo known as NRG and the Sadakist.
Disclaimer, we're not known as anything that Stunna calls us. And how are you, Henry?
I'm doing good. I thought it was a really interesting interview there from Breezy. The fact that he's come in and said, we've actually been working on this map super hard. It's one of the ones we're trying to surprise teams on. Maybe keep that information to yourself, I would say. But either way, it's exciting to build up the hype for this second map. I thought it'd be a foregone conclusion that Liquid were going to take it. But when asked, Breezy said, yes, we're going to make this 2-0, no problem. So I'm interested to see what they bring to the battlefield here. Certainly doesn't mean it's a lock-in, but I like this bit of confidence. As James said, NRG have only played this map twice so far with this organization and lost both of them. So let's see what they've been working on.
Let's find out. Breezy to mid immediately. Cirque and Ethan don't want to contest out toward long, and that's not surprising. A double contest toward long, and Ethan, without even moving, just standing in the pick, gets all three. I was going to say, this aggression from the CT side at any cost is not surprising on a pistol round, given how quickly the T's can get toward long. Finally, they get an exchange in their favor. It's Naf to actually do so, but I was going to say he's very limited in a 1-on-3. The fact that he hits a clean shot to Daps at CT actually changes that, because now it's all about rotations. Flank at that for Breezy.
He does manage to spot one of the players towards CT spawn. Didn't take the opportunity to cross, though. Still got to do that. Shouldn't be too difficult against the pistols. Should be guaranteed the plant at least there. He's got pressure from long, though. Doesn't want to go for the long play here, and it will be Breezy to take him down. I thought he'd just jump in, go for that plant, at least force that situation, get some money. He was looking for the straight-up jewels. He definitely could have planted there securely and then put the pressure on the CTs at that point. He knew they were segregated. But there it is, Ethan really showing us how powerful his aim can be. That's quite spectacular as he manages to win out the round pretty much single-handedly. They came on quite a close affair, but it's going to be NRG picking things up. And remember, this is exactly what Team Liquid did in the second round of the first map. They brought out Deagles, no armor, got the bomb down, and brought themselves a nice early buy in round number 3 still. So I like this approach.
Shot from Cirque. It was peculiar that he was aiming that low with the scout. His crosshair placement was only ever going to hit a shin bone from that point in time, but nonetheless, successful he was in doing so. 90 damage on that, though. Perhaps he did flick up. My eyes are slower than, who knows, Henry? My mind. Breezy's still going to watch toward long. He's waiting to see if he can get flash back out toward Cat. He's gone a little bit early because the flashes do actually catch him off. Crossfire set with Cirque, who's now gone down. Remember, he does have that damage done on a Taco, though, and Breezy from range can take down Nitro. Pretty straightforward. They just want a bomb plant. That's entirely the goal for Liquid, and they've succeeded in that goal. Furthermore, they've done good damage onto Breezy, so they can make this a little bit costly. So Deagle still tries to do exactly that. Elige will get in behind the boxes, but there's really nowhere to hide. nonetheless, as we say, Liquid now with just the one bomb plant, excuse me. I was going to say could try and buy guns a little bit earlier here, but wait one more.
They can buy guns next round.
They can. Naf's got 1650, 4350. You're right. Sorry.
Yeah, it's because they do that thing. They didn't force buy in the second round. They just get Deagle no armor. So they can definitely get a nice little buy here. Whether they will is yet to be seen. Naf could get the AK armor, so could Elige. But I don't really think they found enough kills to maybe warrant it. It's if they get the bomb plant down and maybe, you know, they're going to go for it. And maybe get like 2 or 3 kills, you really lock it in. But still, it looks pretty good. You can see 3 AKs of Galil and a UMP there for Nitro. As Fugly will have the MP9. It's actually quite an even battle. I actually really think more teams should pay attention to this sort of methodology. It's really quite interesting. And will be the long approach coming through, and Fugly trying to mow them down. Good job so far, but the trades back and forth. But it's Breezy with great utility uses there as well. See all the flames around the long entrance. They'll take the man advantage and lock them out of the equation. Great stuff from NRG, looking for the 3-0, making a compelling case to do so. That's an ambitious range, but it's actually Nitro doing considerable damage towards Daps.
Cirque sneaks back out on the ramp. Not aware, however, that Naf has gotten quite so close. So despite that he was still looking to catwalk and spotted one getting toward the cube, he wasn't really ready for the third. That single kill on the ramp does yield the bomb plant, and Ethan down below has a very awkward point of access. I hate retaking from CT spawn personally.
Yeah, it's a horrible angle looking up and trying to look at 5 different angles just like that. Seems like something Ethan's quite comfortable with as we'll bring it into the 2 versus 2, but still so much work to do here. Lovely work from the terrorist forces, but still Daps has a chance here. Doesn't go for the full defuse, baits him out, and that should be it now. Nitro is such a huge advantage here. He'll take the AK-47 and get out of there by the looks of things. Nitro knows he's won the round and he'll fall back. Daps maybe had another chance to go for a full defuse there, but ultimately Nitro isn't going to make a mistake at that point. It's the first round on the board for Team Liquid. All of the idea of not force buying that second round and making sure you get the bomb planted, which is very possible in Dust2 with the short plant available. So there we go. It will be Liquid stealing that round away, but the AK save for Daps, sorry, not Ethan. He'll actually drop the AK for Ethan. That's his star aimer. That's his best rifler on the team. He'll go down to a CZ. So respect that from the in-game leader. A lot of teams don't always subscribe to that idea, but Naf will be going for the long pick here. Watch out for that. It's a spawn-based map. We'll see whether he can pull it off. Not quite, and I'll have to fall back.
Twist top side of Cat. Daps tries to fire back in. This will be a straight mid-contact play, and the fact that they've only spotted one so far suggested that Ethan might have been a problem for them, but he's sought out, spotted by the AK in the hands of Nitro. Slowly but surely push them off the doors, but that won't completely open up middle. The crossfire now established instead. Smoke on the left side did slightly obscure the vision from Daps. In fact, as such, she's gone back up further toward the B side. He's only using a CZ, so the further away that he gets from that corner, the less relevant you could say that he is in that crossfire position, but he certainly can act off trades. He can certainly do damage so long as his teammate can get damage in as well. That's not going to happen. Good find from Elige.
Indeed. Remember, this was the force by now from NRG. They've lost that first pick. It's actually Ethan who had the only real significant weapon there, the saved AK from the previous round. Breezy's been so good so far, but he holds towards the long pit. They've got an open A bomb site. This might be another safe in the CT. I don't think they can do much about this. My God, that's good. From Fugly, though, still a fighting chance if Breezy can find one more. There's a little bit of damage towards Nitro. That's the bomb planted. Fugly will flash over. He's got the AK now. And they might give this a go, considering that one kill came through. Elige jumping down from short. I think he pulled the trigger before he even hit the ground. Looking like he's going to win the round single-handedly here. Now Fly will chime in, but Fugly still delivering damage, but doesn't look like he fancies going for it, considering Elige is there waiting in spawn. Just too much of a bit of a tall order. And it will be 2 rounds in a row for Liquid, and presumably the eco for NRG. Fugly looking for anyone exiting out towards long, but no reason to chase him down. You know he's there. Fall back towards B. And Liquid, money's still tight, but they have forced NRG to a full eco at this point. Maybe some P250s to go with the AK. Smoke middle, maybe nade long, maybe stack B, something like that. Try and funnel them towards the AK. But so far, so good for Liquids. This should be theirs.
Should be. All things considered, 2-2 score line. Fugly, again, like you said, does at least manage to bring over the AK. As we get our game sounds restored. Nitro self-flashed very quickly out toward long with that smoke already down in the corner. He was confident to at least get toward the dumpster. No one fast enough to beat him in taking position toward the pit, so he can now anchor that. In fact, they're going to put more pressure on that position and get everyone out toward long. This will be an economic read. They know that long is either going to be a challenge immediately with pistols up close, or they're not going to have the weaponry to take the long-range duel.
It's all that, and knowing it's the incendiaries aren't there to even cause damage to you when you come out. But Breezy will be there in the smoke to try and be the double agent, join the pack, but taken down. Actually, looking a little bit interesting. CT's have got presence here, especially that team kill coming in. That makes things a bit more complicated. I'm not worried for them just yet. They still have the 4 versus 3. Taco in a good position, watching for the ramp. But Fugly and Ali should do duel here, and he comes out on top. It's actually all falling apart, map. This was looking so good for them. All they brought was the AK, a single deagle, and now Nafly's in a 3 versus 1. He'll have to go for the plant. The jump shots will come through, but not connecting just yet. Has he got any chance in this one? I'm not so sure. He's trying to work out any sort of point of access. There it is, the first one.
That's smart. He knew that they were likely going to get into toward the elevator boost, but if they weren't committing, they might stick out a little bit, and that's exactly what happens, but he's unaware that Daps has gone around behind. It's tough to pinpoint it on one single. I mean, there's a number of mistakes. Obviously, as you said, they didn't have much other than that single AK to work with, but the team kill from Twist definitely doesn't help when they're on top of the ramp.
It doesn't, does
and it gets super chaotic and a bit, I guess, hectic in trying to get the bomb plant down after that. They couldn't really establish any control of the platform.
That's such a massive round for NRG. 1 Deagle, 1 AK, and USPs. They come out on top, and the team kill, sure, it contributed, but still, things were getting messy before then. And it's down to, like, Fugly especially. That flank he negated with Elige coming behind him perfectly. The fact he wins that duel is absolutely everything. And we're getting to what looks like a B split. Twist has got the MP5 out. Silenced, of course. Can't take that off. It's permanent. And that's a great smoke. Terrorists now really going to struggle to make their way through. And Fugly is looking sharp today. That's enough, son. Fall back. Don't have to do much more than that. He wants to keep the money as strong as possible. This is the force buy from Liquid. He mows them down. And now it's a 5 versus 2. Naf and Taco with almost no utility, an MP5 and 1 AK. NRG will take the lead.
More MP5 action, Hank. Does sound cool. Best sounding gun. I'll give it that. Taco wants range though, so it's the Deagle instead, but Cirque wins that exchange. The gun that's built for it, the AWP, easily able to dispose of him when he wraps around from Catwalk. Meanwhile, Naf trying to do what he can inside the middle, but no bomb in his possession. It's really not much to work with, considering they hadn't cleared anything on B, so Cirque standing and waiting with the entire vision of mid. Gets him on the AWP as well. Pretty sharp, you're right, from Fugly to hold off all 3, especially while partially blind.
Had the discipline as well. He's not looking for the big highlight clip and get the ace. He's like, well, this is a map we can get 2-0 against our domestic rivals here. Let's keep everyone alive. I've got 3 kills. I'm going to guarantee this round and fall back and keep the AK in my hand, more importantly. Obviously, you can't buy that on the CT side. It's great for challenging more aggressively, those sort of angles. And now the full eco for Liquid. They're trying to get that short plant down again. Whether the NRG are going to play someone on the site is yet to be seen, but they need to try and deny that. A plant should not be happening here, and it might do. Cirque goes down with just a 1 kill. Fugly, he'll be dropped as well. This is getting all sorts of messy. Another dink happens. What is going on here? Eco victories for days, but 2 versus 1. Daps now up against Nitro. He's hitting this. No flashbang too much.
That flash was perfect, you're right, because Nitro had that corner covered off. If that didn't come through, I dare say another eco victory would have been likely, but NRG control 5-2. They said in the interview, you called it that 2-0, or they called it, you said it. The 2-0 was going to be the score in this series, so off to the races so far at 5-2. Make it costly at the very least. So the money not fully established at this point in time. Cirque and Daps have a buy left over. The others not so much. Breezy could force in the next one, but yeah, here we go.
Tuck in.
One of these yet. Cirque, that's a big miss. AWP that close in a tunnel could have easily shut them down, but Daps does it instead. Cirque got caught out toward the closet. Tap's not
got
been
him.
so efficient. He did get him through the door. That's pretty good on a fadeaway. And follow up as he goes back in to find a lead. Daps hadn't found two there. I dare say B was lost.
I think you're absolutely correct. Daps, who had a pretty rough overpass, he still won the map. He actually looks very confident there. You'd expect players like Cirque as well, that close range angle, that's kind of his bread and butter, the quick shots. He had 5 in front of him. Shoots through the wickets of all of them. And at that point, it's up to Daps. Through the smoke, gets 2, and buys so much time. When you see your 2 players drop around you like that, it's very difficult to commit to the rush when the flashbangs are coming in, essentially trying to work out where the calls are coming from. Is it even worth going forward with this? And looking a bit apprehensive. The B rush call really does not work out for them. Liquid now with the partial buy. In terms of loss bonus, we have found 4th stage for NRG. Well, NRG inflicting the 4th stage, I should say. Liquid receiving. They'll be getting $3,400 per player next round, so they can definitely afford to partially buy into this one. Dabs, that's the spray down. You can see it's all about just knowing the lineup and adjusting the spray to make sure it's going at head height. Does that perfectly, and the scout, although close, does not connect quite, and it will be another B push here. Not quite. I think it's going to go towards the tunnels and maybe look to split from middle. We'll see what happens here. 6-2 though. Convincing stuff there.
It is convincing, and that's the bigger issue, I think, with this, is that Liquid stint in sort of the second half on the T side of Overpass, where it looked like finally that they were in control, but even then it wasn't enough. They were slow to get started on Overpass. Close contest on their eco, but still similar story here. They do go for the run boost early. Cirque's a little bit late to deploy the incendiary to hold them off. That allows them past the corner and overwhelming the AWP. They're also, more importantly, to take down the support role of Fugly in that situation. And despite that they haven't extended far enough forward to get the guns, they certainly do get the bomb plant down as Parisi tries to take position back on the ramp. Relying on an aid to, I was gonna say, do the rest of the damage. It's just Taco and Nitro. They combine, I'm not going to do the math, for somewhere in the mid-40s, Henry. As Taco holds off toward the box.
Well, Daps has got a guaranteed kill pretty much towards the stacked boxes here.
He doesn't
actually
check
it. He's just assuming that's clear.
Oh, that's a huge problem. That's so easy. He didn't go far enough. Taco was standing there the whole time, and Daps was one step from spotting him.
That's so bad. He didn't even check it. That's a really common position. When the bomb gets planted, you're low HP, things get a bit hectic. Try and get baited in from short, like at least give it a little check. But no, Daps will give it away.
I think he thought he cleared it.
I think so as well. It's a much deeper angle than it used to be, I think, than the original, or I should say the previous version of Dust2. And especially if they only got the pistol, won't stick out that much. Taco takes them both down, focuses on the diffuser first, of course. And at that point, it's 6-3. Liquid back in it now. That was pretty massive for Taco to pull that one off from the partial buy. NRG were running away with this one.
So Elige waits out the Xbox position in mid, waits to see what will be thrown their direction. NRG has been actually pretty consistent in peeking through that mid door, so not a bad decision to wait. That's a well-timed strike from Cirque.
Yeah, look at the incendiary as well to buy him a bit more time and inflict damage towards Elige. You tried to punish the fact he knew he'd be falling back. Doesn't work out though, and now Taco with the pressure to walk in towards B and try and crack open this site. He wouldn't be given this sort of freedom back in the day with SK. You can see that Liquid allow him to probe towards certain areas and try and open things up himself. Unsuccessful this time. Nitro waiting to go out towards long, but Breezy, all right, that's a lot of noise made, and I'm not really sure what the play was. I think he was getting flashed in from his teammate. The flash is going behind him. He did get ready, but now Cirque in trouble. This was actually a bit of a nightmare of play from NRG, overcommitting to a situation they didn't really have to, and now you've got to try and retake. This is just not the best.
No, certainly not. That is only a single smoke. There's supposed to be 2. Most teams throw 2 now rather than relying on 1. That cross is just slightly wider. So a missing smoke makes it a situation that NRG, if they hadn't have lost so many in the earlier exchange, could have taken advantage of, but Liquid run by, get the bomb plant. Daps has to save. It'll be 2 in a row for Liquid. They'll avoid potential catastrophe.
They had that one all lined up as well. If they could just hold a little bit more patiently, they didn't have to be reactive there. They had the opening kill, and they challenge, and it all falls apart very quickly. Now, money is actually a bit of a problem here for NRG. They've got to save one rifle once again, but they've allowed the door of opportunity to swing wide open once again for Liquid here. And we'll see whether they can hold on to their rifle. We're probably going to force buy around this, I would say. We'll see. Don't have to. Considering the lead they have, they could just take a full eco, Daps a 3100 residual. They could give maybe Pooty 50s here, or force in with a dropped M4, and the rest of them on SMGs and pistols. We'll see what they go for. Looks like it's the more conservative approach, and that does make sense, as they'll just get a CZ, a 5-7 on Breezy, and Daps got the kit. Just one flash. It's unlikely he is the catalyst there.
That was slow reactions. It's almost like it lagged by the time he flicked back over. So, all right, Daps has to be efficient. Bad positioning to do that, though. Didn't have anyone to cover off. Fair play from Taco to get both. Anyone to cover off Catwalk, and yet he chooses to play in a position with no cover and a really sharp angle to try and wield that M4. It was almost a bit of indiscretion or indecision from NRG, but now it's just Cirque remaining. Bomb already planted. Liquid going to bring this to 5. It's perhaps we jinxed them, Henry. We said at 6-2 that things were looking very convincing. It's looked anything but since that time, and Cirque saved the kit. Being a little facetious with that statement, but really not much to do in this round.
Yeah, really. Cirque will hold up and look if there's anything available to him. Twist just investigates just to make sure there's no CTs gathering any sort of dropped weaponry. Cirque has picked up the kit, but might as well just stay alive at this point. That kit's worth $400. His life's worth 300 to them. So hold on to it. 6-5. All of a sudden, Liquid right back into it. Money's still not amazing for the CT. Cirque could be dropped an AWP. Daps will do it. He'll sacrifice a lot of his own utility. He actually has nothing to his name. Give Cirque the AWP, and Nitro's got that long spawn. I would say Taco might be worth giving him the AWP so he can go first with the weapon. Will he take it regardless? There's Taco finishing things off. Taco will flash out, and indeed it's the AWP going in first, so will he be there in time? They run through the flames with no damage really inflicted until the bullets get involved. It's Breezy to find the first and somehow a second as well.
That shouldn't have been any. He should have been dead. Taco should have absolutely nailed that shot. The fact that he gets by and then no one even able to take position to try and trade that off to try and get him back down. They just give position away.
They absolutely do. They went for the long take and good utility usage from NRG. They said they've been prepping on this map in the major. While that was going on, instead of watching that, they're working on their own strategies. They're trying to develop as a team, add Dust2 to their repertoire. Seems to be working out. Those nades were very impressive. You could see it was stifling almost as he's trying to get out the door. Couldn't spot anything, getting no real damage off. And now their money's actually still relatively strong. They've got the full buy on the T side here. Shots rattled off towards the door. Nothing connected just yet. If you're just joining us, it's our second best of 3 of the day. First day here at ESL One New York. 3 best of 3s today and tomorrow, but we do lose a team today, ultimately, and it's going to happen.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, first day of the event.
Indeed.
And someone's gone. It's, what is it, Tuesday? Wednesday? It's Wednesday?
It's Wednesday today.
Okay, thank you. I don't really keep track of that anymore.
I don't either. I don't really know what month it is.
It is difficult, right?
I have Chad who just tells me, he's got the calendar. He just like tells me where we're going next, what's happening. I just rely on him. He always seems to know.
That's your first mistake.
But it's always worked for me so far. Been a clean 2018 and not missed a single flight.
Clean 2018.
Haven't missed a single flight, which is a new record.
Do you pay him for that?
No, he offers it for free.
He tends to do that.
Yeah.
Hey, fine. His choice. Careful, Henry. We're going to get someone critiquing us for rambling soon.
Oh, it's just the build-up.
Exactly.
It all leads to the excitement here.
Exactly. And then I'll do, apparently, one of my rap gut things, which I've not done in like 8 months. But that's
all the smokes.
Interesting bounce on that smoke. I don't think that was intended. Brilliant shot from Elige. That's an interesting bounce. I want to actually see if that's usable in another situation. Anders theorycraft that. Not the second smoke's obviously negated the gap, but the first one looked like it bloomed halfway up the Xbox. That could be usable in some senses. Meanwhile, B site open, bomb to be planted, Liquid to potentially take a 6th round. I think that's confirmed by the fact that there's no money left over on the NRG side. They're already saving inside of pit. I need to stop saying NRG. They even put out a tweet about that.
What do they want to be called?
It's just NRG, which is what I kind of always thought, and then everyone told me that was wrong, and then now it's fact right.
Well, Liquid with lovely efficiency. Those smokes towards CT, you could see nothing could be seen whatsoever as they push through, and normally there will be some sort of gap, there'll be a mistake made, but you can see they've got everything covered. It's Elite focuses on the boost spot, making sure that's not a possibility for the CTs, and NRG will just have to save 3 weapons. It's not too bad, but the money's just not quite justifying enough to go full retake there, especially when you've lost 2 players. Nothing's really worked out for you. 7-6 now, looking for the 3rd map, our Team Liquid. Being quite competitive so far, no one running away with either of the maps. And there's the Molotov.
That smoke. I'm wondering if there's like a CT way to one-way that from ramp with an op. Super situational, but that's where Anders loves to get in on that.
So you're saying you throw an incendiary on top of the box, or?
No, so did the smoke, did it bloom due to the incendiary, or did it?
No, it
landed up there.
It lands up there intentionally, yeah.
Yes, so it covers it with the second smoke, but I think there's a way to exploit that on the CT side. I don't know if it would be incendiary for the, it wouldn't change anything. I think there's a way to do a one-way from the CT side with it, maybe. I have to get in the server. I'll explain it to you someday when I decide to load Counter-Strike again.
Okay.
I forgot we had Panorama now.
We do.
We don't have James Bardoff swimming behind it this week, though.
Yeah, that's a shame. That was a big part of the major for me, looking at that every day. Another B rush here, Liquid. Did you learn your lesson from the first time? Apparently not. Let's see where they can find the kills. They actually do open things up efficiently here. It will be a Liege to crack open the site, but Daps still fighting back strong. He's actually been pretty decent here so far. Bomb will be planted. Not really much he can do about that. Oh, he can take a lot of residual damage as he actually gets through. He knows there's a planter on the other side, but can't find the shot. It's too chaotic, and they might have to save again here. And the reason they rush B their match, because the only kills they got in the previous round were the 2 B players. Those are the guys that won't have all their cash for the incendiaries, the smokes, maybe diffuse kits. If you can take those ones down, they might want to have all their utility. It's the best possible chance to punish you've got. And they're punishing. Breezy will be waiting for them outside the tunnels. Called the save and removes some money, but it doesn't really matter. We got the final round in the next, so it doesn't really equate to too much. But still, Liquid and the B rush, that's more like it from them. 7-7. Saving 3 weapons once again. Both teams will have decent weaponry for the final round here. First map was Overpass. NRG took that away in overtime. Wouldn't be surprised if Dust2 went to overtime as well, considering what I've seen so far. No one really excelling. NRG were. They were actually 7-2 up, but Liquid back now. I think it was 6-2, I beg your pardon, but you get the picture. Easy, been decent along. Gets in the pit this time. Bit of a bait smoke and fast play towards shorts. Cirque caught off guard. Communication must have been a little bit chaotic there, considering they see that smoke. He's trying to help out both sides of the map. This fast-paced gameplay, we don't really see this on any other map but Dust2, but you can stick up Wolfpack and look at that nice open plant. Not only is it planted for sure at a deeper angle, it means you've got no cover from the ramp when you do go for the defuse, so it actually opens up options there. Taco somehow still alive there. Thought he was done for, but this is looking like an 8-7 lead now for Liquid.
I thought you were going to not stipulate for which team there, and I was going to say that's a bold prediction, Henry. You really nailed that one. Both of those smoke and Molotov failed. They bounced off and fell down below onto the ramp, but you're right, Liquid just running rampant at this point in time. We'll go 8-7 up and switch it over to the CT side. So perfectly split down the middle on Dust2, which is slightly unsurprising considering the situation and the map that we're on.
We are.
I think it's still a fairly even map. I still say T-sided.
I think it depends on the matchup, depends on the play styles.
Yeah.
Dust2's always been split right down the middle for me at least. But NRG looks fantastic there at the very beginning. Managed to go 6-2 up, but then it all started to fall apart after they lost those pistols.
I think the one thing we'll start to see that gets brought into question in the second half when Liquid take over the CT side is certainly Nitro's ability on that AWP. Now, you can't play it very passively on Dust2. If you play it toward the car, you don't have to take those duels, but it could be something that it is a bit of a hindrance for them on this map.
We just saw that round where Taco snuck behind the boxes, Daps didn't check it, and that was when the floodgates opened. Well, here we go. The second half will begin momentarily. We'll look at the buys. We'll see Nitro with the smoke diffuse kit. Seems pretty standard for every CT pistol these days. We've seen plenty of full diffuse antics, especially at the major. Lots of that going on with the smoke on top, challenging the Glocks to spam, and either punishing them and taking them down with the kills, or going for that full defuse.
Single smoke. It's a lovely thing to have, single smoke on either side. So Daps and Nitro, the two in-game leaders. That also is unsurprising in that situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Taco, they're actually smoking middle. I would love to know the rationale behind that. Okay, this is called the 4-king stack. This was used way back in the CPL days. I think NOA were doing it as well. It was a classic 1.6 strategy used over the years. Haven't really seen it in CSGO, I'll be honest. Well, that's a lovely headshot from Nav as Cirque jumps in the pit. So that's why they dropped the door, smoke at the doors at the start there. That's a very unique idea to boost up. Nav finishes off the kill. And then you got the dink there. This is looking good for Liquid now. 5 versus 4.
They can fall back, be a little bit more complacent. Nitro still waiting with Elige. That's the former duo. The old guard Nitro has to be quiet and patient in that position as Elige takes significant damage, goes down to 65. Luckily from that range it's not as problematic, despite that it was a headshot. Nitro's heard them go catwalk. That'll certainly call to alarm Nav, because he has to play these very narrow angles between the boxes as they approach from both sides. Both Long and Cat, good find on the first two. Be efficient, but does he react in time, knowing that they've retreated down Cat? That's a proper way of doing it. Fight fire with fire, wrap around and go aggressive. Unfortunately, he's lost his teammate as well. Twist gets back through the smoke, gets only one. But Taco's there to make sure the Fugly goes down. It is just Daps, and there's no bomb plant as of yet.
He's done for. Nothing he can do about that one. It will be Liquid picking up the pistol here, giving them a distinct advantage here in the second half. 9-7, no bomb planted. Does that mean NRG fully invest into round number 2? Another team, they're quite clever with their finances. Breezy, though, will suggest they are going all in. CZ's Deagles, P250's a scout for Fugly. He has no armor. Ethan, same story, opted for utility instead on the T side. So you might be buying that smoke for Xbox, for example. And there's certainly actually 4 players, make it 2, committing towards long. They're out. Flashes are decent. Twists, feeling the brunt of them. How has no kill been traded out by the CTs there? I have no idea, but surely they'll get one here. Be careful there, Breezy, don't have to fully commit. Teammates aren't there for the trade. Good grenade in response, does quite a lot of damage here. This is good though from Liquid. They're boosting up towards shore and actually focusing on another part of the map to take control of. Instead of waiting on the A site and being tentative and getting split upon, they know there's a chance now that terrorists can fall back towards shore and really make things uncomfortable for them. They boost up as quick as they can towards shore, and now at least when they come towards long, they can call for it, nade the site, and try and hold them off instead of being pincered while they're isolated towards A.
You're right about the trade. Twist fully blind. Elige, I think, was as well, but you'd expected them to have at least found one. The problem is they've given away the FAMAS. Daps has head armor to work with that. M4 becomes the hot hand for Liquid. And despite that they've taken over Cat, they need to be very cautious of the fact that Naf, okay, fair enough, good shot. There's only a CT spawn to try and cover the cross. Manages to do so with the scout of the first shot, given the earlier damage, but the bomb's still going to be conceded. Naf has to fall off of it as well. I'm not sure why there wasn't more aggression from Catwalk to try and defend him there.
It seems that there should have been, right? And now Nitro has to wait for his teammates to rotate in. There's one actually on the side, that same position that caused NRG trouble before. Taco is the same player to hold it. It's actually looking very good now. Still need to defuse that bomb in a 3 versus 2. Cirque beneath them on the site. The scout first, and this means that Cirque doesn't have to do too much, but Fugly will be trying to hold off now. The full defuse coming in here, and he can't do anything about it. Touch and go round, but ultimately it will be Liquid finding double digits first, and that should be now an eco for an RG.
Was close indeed. Cirque being found before he could respond to the scout firing at long was certainly a pivotal moment, because the scout just needs a headshot, and on someone who is defusing, that's an easy task. So 10-7 for Team Liquid. Henry, what's map 3?
Map 3, I can confirm, is going to be Mirage.
It's excellent.
Middle ground.
Ooh, a little bit far. Still nails Fugly. Yeah, Mirage is a good middle ground. That's splendid from Naf.
They're going for that short plant here, but I don't think Nitro's going to let them have it. Elige is there to build the barrier too. Jumping out to spawn. I don't think it'll be much of a nuisance. Actually, Daps down in CT now. ambitious to think that anyone will allow him to do much of this. I think they even spotted him go down. So they'll start to realize in a second of the possibility of him being a CT spawn. He's hearing off those speculative shots, though, from NAF, so could be a chance. Let's hear one more, then commit. Oh, okay, nice shot from Daps. He'll go towards B and just try and get that plant down. Throws a smoke at the doors, suggests he's coming through that area. Oh, actually works out. Yeah.
I was going to say, I'm very surprised that worked out that well.
So there we go. Taco manages to reposition and come out on top. 11-7, third map. Looking very possible now. Liquid fighting back, and NRG, after their great starts, haven't actually posted a single round yet. They're 3-0 down in second. No orb for Cirque. It'll be 5 AKs across the board, but they've kept the money relatively modest for Liquid. Twist will be on the UMP this round. They haven't got a ton of residual cash. So just looking for any players towards lower.
So Ethan will take up Cat. Spotted as he is. Does try and respond very quickly with an AK. You can admire the man for his reflexes. Young American. Home event. It's not quite the same as saying home event when you're in like a small country in Europe, right? Because you could be in 5 different time zones in North America.
The prime example of that is my flight from London to here is actually less than my flight from California from here as well. It's like, well, that's so mad.
It's the same. Despite that Canada has Vancouver on the opposite side, I'm closer to London, England.
Yeah, well, there you go. It is going to be Ethan to open things up. NRG still fighting back. Good execution towards that A side of the map. Short plant comes in and Twist aware of the possibility of Breezy going for the backstab out long, but he might be wasting a little bit of time here. CTs might be considering saving at this point, maybe even more so now. Breezy will challenge towards middle. This is a very good approach from NRG here. Guaranteed round for them. Aliege trying to do anything he can at this point, at least make it expensive for them. Can't win, but got a kill and bails out, but he's going to be dropped. Daps, great work, and Twist now. They know there hasn't been too much activity towards long, and there he is. Breezy, great aim, great awareness, manages to time it to perfection there towards middle.
So, not a whole lot to work with on the Liquid side for Nitro, Taco, or NAF. Twist can't really afford to drop to a teammate either. Elige can, but they've got to make this decision within this timeout. And they've got to make it work, because if they break now, NRG gets 9, potentially then 10. They get the run of the mill. Is that a saying in Europe? I doubt it.
Yeah, it is.
Oh. Cultured.
Well, NRG fighting back now. You speculated as a T-sided map. I still think it's a bit too early. I feel like we're still trying to see new and exciting things. The Major didn't bring a ton of that from Dust2. Definitely some creative plays, but still plays pretty much the same as the previous iteration.
He manages to go, I think, unsighted. I think he just barely got by Cirque there to lower. Although I say that in the means of rotation by Cirque suggests perhaps they want a position for him in the lower tunnels. Either way, it may not matter that he's there if they continue to head toward long. Nitro holding as well. Carry on, Henry.
I wasn't going to say anything interesting. It's one of those rounds.
I'm not saying anything interesting, so.
It's just one of those plays. It's like, well, we've got to say something, technically. So.
They pay us by the word.
Dead air is a crime. And
it's definitely not.
In the UK, I think it is. Radio.
Oh, sure, if you go full radio silence.
Sure.
Sure. Is it actually a crime, though?
For the BBC, it is. They have to be playing something at all times, I think.
Well, it's because they're funded.
Yeah.
But what if it's like part of a
an
art
no
installation
expert.
piece?
This is just something funny.
What if it's a means of protest?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'll have to say. I'll have to look it up.
Well, ask that. You know who we can ask? OJ Borge.
He would know, actually, I think. He'll be here on Friday.
Mr. BBC himself.
Yeah.
But not the British Broadcasting Corporation, the other BBC. As Fugly trades off Twist, he goes down. Cirque, meanwhile, out toward long, will cross over. Nap's already spotted him, but can't do anything with the pistol. and it's Taco and Elige to turn it around. The guns starting to chime in, but it's a one-on-one between Elige and Fugly. Elige at CT has to cover the cross. Bomb, oh, it's down. Elige, he just barely spotted him.
He's won. It's Elige's round. This is way too well played. He can jump up and even go for the frag here. Doesn't want to risk
no
that.
need to risk it, I don't think.
No,
Let him have the plant. You know where he is. Fugly didn't spot you. Straightforward.
Yeah, good call. He doesn't have to jump up there. It's just too much of a high risk, and it gives his position away. That's a nightmare for NRG. That was a round they went in pretty much full eco. And it's the P250s, and Elige gets an AK, and all hell breaks loose. Third map looking very likely now. 12-8, but money not completely destroyed for NRG, I'll say that much. They can even buy an orb. But that's huge. Liquid now fighting back. There he comes, getting it done towards short. His teammates taking most of the aggro away. He just has to pepper them down, gets himself towards CT, catches the cross, times it well. Elige the long spawn now. Probably goes in to throw the initial grenades. We'll see what his sequence is. But for now, it will be players there on the other side. Will be the first incendiary thrown, and that will hold them at the doors at least. A lot of teams are throwing it off that telephone pole in front of you right now. You can bounce the incendiary off that as you're running up to it, and actually lands just in front of the doors. So it can be a nice safe way to stop them rushing and segregate the pack. Then you flash and retake it as CTs. Nothing towards middle, though, for Liquid, as Daps will help himself to that area of the map. He'll be very aware of their tendencies and what he can get away with. He doesn't just do this with no grenades for zero reason.
Cross it over. Utility used towards CT gives them comfort to look toward the window, but the window occupied by Taco. Daps was a lot closer than Taco realized. Much closer indeed as he manages to push back through and catch him out. Transitioning, it's breezy. Take down Elige. That's a pretty solid take through mid from NRG, I have to say.
Absolutely. Fantastic.
Clean,
Bounce
clinical.
back. Indeed.
Concise.
Perfect.
Not consensual, though.
Definitely not consensual. That would be accurate. Nitro's going to save the AWP. Twist on the M4. After the reinvestment of their grenades, you can see money is a little bit of an issue. They have one player of a lot more than most. That's Elige, who survived after getting that amazing 3K. He's got $6,000. So they save the AWP and the M4. It won't be a perfect buy by any stretch, but it will certainly be fine. But this is the moment of the game we had similar to Overpass. What I said is like, this is breaking point now. If Liquid give the next one away with all the money they'll have to spend in the next round, that could be NRG tying things up. Or Liquid win it off a chance by him, and they finish the game off. We'll see. It'll be round number 22. It's not surprising this could go 3 maps. Going into this one, we built up the idea that sure, it might seem like Liquid are the favourites going into it, but these domestic rivalries, they run deep. And in the past, it's always been very close games. There's Daps, very handy in-game leader in terms of the fragging department as well. AK's AWP for Cirque. Just one compromise on the CT side, that's Taco with the CZ. They only have one kit as well. That can sometimes be a problem. Cirque not letting himself off Elige's shit. He's only on 7 kills, this leaving the Dust2.
Yeah, that's indicative for Twist, by the way.
Yes.
He'll have heard that hit breezy. No, yeah, that's so easy at that point.
Easy for Breezy? Not so easy.
Not, yeah, it was Twist that I, yeah.
Okay.
A flick of the wrist for Twist. Either way, as soon as he heard the body get hit by the smoke, he knew exactly where he was going, or at least was intending to, so checks the corner and makes no mistake. On the reverse side of that, there was no idea from Breezy that he would have been that far out that long. So Ethan in mid wants to get rid of the bomb. He'll throw that to the lower tunnels and then take the initiative to peek. Quick flash for his teammates to check catwalk at the same time. 58 seconds. There's time enough to check both facets of the map and still not have to commit. Nitro, standard position, very standard setup all around, in fact, you have to say. From the CTs, the differentiation, that's a really silly, weird word, is that they don't have anyone in CT to swing. They're actually going to play it on Goose, which gives a lot more away at middle, and Ethan's gone for the drop. So the fact that he's down there, they can actually now exploit toward window, and Naf has to be extremely careful. Outside of the window, too easy for Cirque. This is the right, actually perfect opportunity for them to go through CT.
Taco can actually do something with this. Oh, not quite. I thought if he sneaked through this smoke, they had no idea. But it's NRG looking for double digits here. Looks like it's guaranteed as well. It's Twist will be holding in T-Spawn. Nitro once again holding on to the AWP. Scrappy B bomb side play there from NRG, but it's enough to find in the round.
That's where, just to point out, by the way, that's where we used to talk about the setup, like that's the old TSM blueprint. Zipix was the one that sat in CT spawn to catch the people dropping and then support the oppers. So the fact that that player was on Goose, the person that would have been Zipix in this case was on Goose, as soon as Ethan got down to CT, he had all of mid to himself.
Yeah, it's a very powerful strategy. If you can get a player down there successfully, you can do so much with that. You don't necessarily have to use them to go for the beat split. You can send a player down there and just cause lots of rotations, get lots of aggro toward that side of the map. You've got players waiting along, ready to go out at the same time. Just getting someone down there successfully and staying alive can just be enough to really sabotage the defense on the CT side. 12-10. Looking for 2-0 here. I don't think many people would have had that for NRG going into this one. But we'll have a look at the money. Are Liquid going to justify the investment here? They don't have to. They still have a couple of rounds buffer. If they forced into this one, that could be a problem. They have an AWP and an AK and some upgraded pistols. That's enough to win a round. We know it is. As they'll smoke towards window, or the doors, I should say. They're actually not going to challenge, and Zerg not got a chance going for the long shot there. Simply Breezy trying to get towards that pit. A lot of teams will do that. Flash over multiple times to try and get a player in there. And they won't be trying to kill anyone. They'll be fully blind from their teammates. Just get into towards the pit and then spray down after that. Going to go for a fast long play by the looks of things here. Nades on the side presumably coming through. That Molotov is what I expected. And that will push anyone back towards the well here. So the bomb will be planted now.
So Elige gets in toward the elevator position. He does actually scare Daps enough to get him off the plant the first time, which then left him just as vulnerable. Despite that he got off it, went back to the same position the second time that he jumped up, and he nearly did pick him apart, death by 1,000 paper cuts, but perhaps it was a soggy wet paper bag. Don't know where I'm going with that, Hank. Not as clever as I once was. Twist, good find on Fugly. Twist, good find on Breezy, as well as he picks up the AK and continues on with it. Bit of a menace for them. As Ethan goes down, Twist again. He's gotten 4 kills. This and is an ace.
So unreal. How has it happened?
Second ace in the series, and this time when they had no weapons.
Yeah, well, we did say the AWP and the AK going into this round, it's enough to win this sort of procedure. That's exactly what happened on Overpass. It was Twist who only had the M4. That's the only weapon brought over from the previous round. He got an ace on the B-bomb site of Overpass to get them back in the game. And he might have just done the same thing here. An ace on the A-bomb side, on the CT side. And completely shuts down the morale of NRG. They will be buying up into this, but that could be the hopes and dreams smashed. We'll see what they can answer back with. Amazing stuff. Second ace in the series. Not just only when they're against an eco team or anything, when his own team's eco.
Yeah.
Twice.
Like, those are like the most impressive. Not always, but on paper.
This
get the ace.
The boost at the start was everything here.
Last shot toward pit looked pretty sick as well. We didn't actually see it from his perspective, but solid job.
Well, Sean at the Major said he considers Twist to be the most skillful player he's ever been in a team with.
Yeah, that's a huge statement coming from Sean, considering the nature of the NA scene means he's played with literally everyone and their brother.
Indeed. So that's pretty amazing. If he could consistently find the skill setting he's got available to him, like, he is going to be absolutely nuts in the future. He definitely already is. But when we see him popping off like this, it's difficult to shut him down. 13-10, Liquid managed to extend their lead. The boost in CT spawn and put Elige above the nuisance of the CT spawn smokes.
Taps to the lower tunnels. There's no information toward that side of the map yet. There hasn't actually been. That's one thing just to point out as well. Despite that we've seen a few B rushes, we haven't seen anyone from the CT side go kind of Scream-esque and push through. Scream loves doing that.
Yeah, he definitely, back in the day as well when he was one of the kings of the game, he was scary when he pushed towards that area. But Twist,
flash.
Yep, he's just helping himself to frags left, right, and center. Flashed in from his teammate, times it perfectly. He goes round, gets 2. You can see he even had time to waste as well. Missed a few bullets, wasn't a problem. And it will be a 5 versus 3 as quick as that.
Nitro's going to go and take the stance now. Post on Catwalk. That's the first kill in 8 that goes to someone other than Twist. He had the last 7 for his team before that. Breezy sneaks up long, and no one to confront him. He's not exactly committed to it, though, and I think they have other ideas. They realize 2 versus 5. Perhaps it's best to look elsewhere on the map. This should go to 14, and in doing so, limit the money once again for NRG. NRG. Shaquille O'Neal. and potentially put us on a Mirage, Hank.
I think that's going to be happening. Looks like Twist is entered beast mode at this point. Money's starting to dwindle. They have saved the AWP and the AK. It worked out for Twists and Nitro before. Can they replicate that? Running out of time now. As we'll get into round number 25. Liquid, firm lead. Should be able to take this round as well. Find himself a map point. Time will tell, though. With this skill on the server, anything can and will happen. Look at the initial setup here for the T side. 3 players towards B. Breezy watching long as usual. Cirque will fire off a shot towards the doors. Nothing connecting. Changes position up towards the suicide box there. And now it all slows down at the default. This is looking like a B split to me. A bit of pressure for Breezy at the start, which is completely shut down. Twist has just turned into an absolute animal in this last few rounds.
This is a whole different game for him all of a sudden in the last 3 rounds. He now finds himself with 14 kills. 8 of those have come in the last 3.
Yeah. So he's having a pretty quiet game up until that point. Then
Very
gets an
quiet.
ace. And
He had 6 kills up until that point,
yeah, that's pretty nuts.
which was then lowest of the server.
I'm sure he's rapidly climbing up the ranks now.
3rd on team.
Yeah.
Tau on top. Nade toward Catwalk. Daps burning ever so slightly. Goes down to 21 HP. They're still down a man early from that pick by Twist. Speaking of, look at this. Pushing out long. Knows they're on Catwalk. Picks up the pace and is needing to pick up the pace. If Elijah is able to hold the spot at baskets, there's really no urgency for Twist. He can take his time and make it perfect on the flank. Now he's got to be quick, but in being quick can also be caught out as he pre-fires the corner. They now know that he's there. Fugly dropping down, although in blindness, he gives himself up. Twist just found 2 more, despite that they were looking in that direction, and the retake successful. That's... I've lost track. What's that? 10 kills in the last 3 rounds for Twist? That's pretty sick.
He's doing a great job. I think it might... You said 8 before, didn't you?
Yeah, and he got 2 more.
Didn't he get
So
3?
that's... No, he got 2 more at that point.
Okay. I thought I read 3. Okay. There we go.
He had 3 in the round.
Yeah.
But he already had 1 when we said 8.
Right. I see.
Yeah.
But there we go. It's going to be 5 in a row from NRG. They were looking very good at one point, but then they lose to an eco, and it all collapses around them. They're going to have to buy up with the Galils, the AKs, and the CZ for Daps. Smokes towards Xbox, smokes towards Long. But ultimately, this is looking like a foregone conclusion. I don't see a way where they get 5 in a row, then win in overtime. It seems like Liquid are taking us to Mirage. We'll be burning the Midnight Oil tonight, it seems. There it is. Nafly pretty much guarantees it. 2 kills to his name. Sets up a Liege for another. 3 versus 2. They've still got Taco waiting the B side. You know he's going to hit one of these. There it is.
Yep.
And now it's up to Breezy, who's been very good. If he takes out Taco, there's certainly a chance here. But Taco just smartly stays alive. That's all he has to do. He doesn't have to really deny the plant. Let him do it. You know exactly where he is. Got players in the tunnel. Great nade from Taco.
Yeah. It's not like you're denying money if you're winning the game.
Yep, exactly.
So you're right. Let it happen.
Finish it off in style. There's no way Breezy wins this. Taco plays it perfectly. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go into Mirage. As
wax on, wax off.
Yeah, this
Mr.
is...
Maruggi.
This is a great display from Liquid, and Twist especially, after going from almost no frags and being very quiet on Dust2, he completely shuts down NRG with a sequence of brilliance, including a full eco ace from him, saving the AK from previous round, didn't spend any money, his teammates on eco, and he finishes it off. Great stuff, and shout out to Taco as well there towards the end. Intelligent play. NRG continue their 0% win factor on LAN on Dust2. So that's not ideal for them, but certainly showing us they've got the skill to compete with the likes of Team Liquid here. Mirage should be very comfortable for both teams, so maybe Liquid looking a bit more confident now. We'll throw it to the break and be back with the desk very shortly.
ESL One, New York.